Wise Wednesdays started on April 1st with a humble episode on forgiveness. Between then and now, we've had heart-led conversations on happiness, stress management, relationships, resilience, public speaking, respecting boundaries, self-discovery, mindset, just being, listening, reclaiming your life, intuition, and even food. I would like to thank all my listeners and the guests who gave me their time and trust. It is because of you that we kept going. It is because of you that we kept growing. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you so, so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you so, so much for all of you who are joining us on episode 78 of Wise Wednesdays with RK. Conversation today is about empathy. Empathy, I believe, comes when you understand the pain of life. Empathy comes when you go through a few things. And my conversation today is with the Velvet Wolf. He calls himself the Velvet Wolf. He is Mr. Pervaiz. He is a vibrant soul with a hearty laugh. I've known him for, I think, 4, if not 5 years now. I think, yeah, around 5 years plus, if I'm not mistaken. A banker by profession, a change maker by soul, and as he likes to call himself, he is the Velvet Wolf. I bring to you, without further ado, Mr. Pervaiz. Welcome.
Well, hello, as RK would say.
See, I told you, hearty laugh. There he is.
Hey, why am I going dark again? Yeah, I'm all right. I don't know this. I think there's something wrong with the resolution of this machine. It's all right again. It just comes and goes.
Yes.
First of all, thank
It's
you ever
giving.
so much for
It's
having me on board your wonderful channel.
thank you, thank you. So,
And
as I was saying, I think your
yes.
light is giving you that feel of the wolfness. You know,
Oh,
it's just giving you
yeah,
the
the darkness
giving
of
you
my
that
caves.
play. Yes, it's giving you that play of light.
Yes, the darkness of my caves.
Absolutely. And the brightness of your soul. So, thank you
Thank you.
for being on this conversation with me. I do appreciate. And today we are talking about the power of empathy.
Yes.
And and I would like to know
But
from
the
you.
power of empathy overall, yes, but particularly the power of empathy in the ruthless corporate world.
Yes, yes,
I was
absolutely.
having this discussion with another colleague of mine, Shiraz, yesterday morning, and I told him that I'm going to be live with RK at 9 o'clock on Wednesday. So he said, "What are you going to talk about?" So I said, "I'm going to talk about empathy in the corporate world." So he told me a very ironic thing. He said, Parvaiz, how can you talk about something that does not exist?
Hmm.
So that's when I told him that because it does not exist, I'd like to talk about it and open a few minds.
Absolutely. And that's where the power lies, right? When you're
And
able to
that's where
have
the
that
power
conversation.
lies. That's where the
Yeah.
power lies.
And when you're able to hold that conversation and have that effectiveness in understanding what empathy really is. So
That's right.
tell me, what is empathy to you?
Empathy to me means that I should have the ability to make someone who is all the time constantly in my life or not in my life, I should bring about happiness. Even to a stranger, my empathy should be there. Just because I don't know him, I should not say, we don't know who he is, so why should we care?
Hmm.
You know, in my heart, I prefer to care for strangers,
Hmm.
people I've met for the first time, or maybe people I will never see again. So that one day of happiness, if I could bring into their lives, I have made the day for my own self,
True,
right? And
true.
1400 years ago, Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam also said the same thing. that if you can make one person happy in this world at any given point in time, you can make humanity happy.
True.
And 6,500 years ago, Lord Zoroaster said exactly the same thing. So that is primarily the aim of my conversation with you today.
Thank you so much. And that's what I work towards as well. It's like if I can create a change, if I can,
Yes,
make a shift one conversation at a time,
one
then
conversation.
my mission is accomplished. And that's what
Exactly,
Wise Wednesdays is
exactly.
all about. And that's what the daily lives are all about.
RK, many a Pandora's box opened up during this so called 18-month pandemic. Many
Yes.
minds were opened, many hearts were opened, many eyes were opened, many empires crumbled, and many such things happened which we had taken for granted. And that's when we realized that, or rather, I would say I realized that the entire world is full of humans. There is absolutely no end to them. Population is growing by the day. But unfortunately, humanity seems to have left the building a long, long time ago.
Mm, I hear you.
So that
Exactly.
is my take today. Now, since years I've been doing this, I don't know how many others do it. Whenever I walk into the lobby of my office, the first people I make sure I'm greeting is the security guard. I have seen 90% of the people walking into my lobby and getting into the lift as if these two don't even exist. The second person that I greet when I'm out of the lift in my floor is my office boy, Rashid, because he brings me 3 cups of tea a day. And even if he didn't, I would still go and greet him first. And then I go into the kitchen or to the washrooms to see if the janitor is there. I say salam alaikum to him. And then I put my stuff on my desk. And maybe then I say hi, boss, if he's around. He's the last person on my list.
Mm,
The CEO walks into his office. The receptionist, the telephone operator, he doesn't even look at them. He walks down the corridor, telephone on his ears, calling the CFO, the finance manager, the admin guy, sorry, wanting to know what is the state of affairs of his company's finances. That small little girl sitting on the reception means nothing to him. He doesn't even know she exists. He's not even hired her. He's never even interviewed her. And he's hardly ever said hello to her. The one small telephone operator may be the lowest paid employee in the corporation. Let's say corporations like Siemens, corporations like Microsoft, corporations like Johnson and Johnson. That one small person can make a very huge difference because she picks up the first phone call of the day.
right.
Okay. And now the phone call can be picked up in such a way that she could say, hello, Johnson and Johnson. Good morning. What can I do for you? Or she can also say, no.
Makes a difference.
And that would either make or break Johnson and Johnson. So empathy is very, sorry,
Okay.
very, very important in this ruthless corporate world.
Definitely is.
If a CEO puts his hands over the shoulder of the janitor every morning and just asks him one question, how are you, my friend? It will make his day for the next 3 years. But the CEO considers himself too big. He's greater than God. Oh, I'm going to shake hands with a janitor. Jesus Christ. Hell will break loose.
Tell
I've
me
been
how.
trying. Tell me. Sorry.
Tell me how. No, it's all right. Tell me, how do you translate this outside of the corporate world into everyday life? And one thing I've noticed about the light is when you are leaning towards the logo part of the frame, it's fine. So let's make you do that so that we can see. Is that your mom that we're seeing in the background? The picture?
That is our granny, the good
Yes.
old granny. You must have read
So
about her in the book.
in the book, yes. So,
Yeah.
good old granny, let's have a little bit of the frame visible. And when you're seated like this and not covering her up, I think she
Oh,
doesn't
not
want to be
not
in the,
covering her up. Okay.
not covering up. I
Okay.
think she wants to be in the frame. So you come closer,
Absolutely. Granny's always been in my life since
and
day one.
this isn't this beautiful. So see, perfect lighting.
All right. Brilliant. Now
Now
maybe Granny wanted to come in. That's why she made me dark for a while.
yes, she wanted to bless us. So
That's
now I want you to talk about empathy, take it further. We're talking about the corporate world, but obviously the listeners are people from every walk of life. So how do you
yes.
take empathy in the everyday conversation? For me, I'll tell you how I do it.
Yes.
I say thank you to everybody. I say thank you for if I've called my grocery guy,
Yes.
those who live in the UAE and have lived in UAE are aware. I mean, you call up the person and they deliver it to your doorstep. You
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Talabat, room,
Yes.
everything comes to your door. The laundry guy. So I am actually will say thank you. Tell
Perfect.
me, tell me, what about you? How do you take empathy out in the corporate as well as outside?
90% of my job is telephone oriented. I speak to a lot of people, at least about 100 people a day. And before my conversation comes to an end, my line is thank you and God bless you, sir, or madam, or whosoever is on the other side. So I must be saying God bless you at least 150 times a day.
Beautiful. And what you give, you get.
Absolutely. No two
Hmm,
ways about it.
true.
You see, now these corporates and these high and mighty CEOs, they've been under the mistaken delusion that their best investment is the stock in their warehouse. It's my bank balance. It's my furniture. It's my beautiful office.
Oh, it's the beautiful paintings I have in the room.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
But their best investment is
the
their
people.
staff. The people, the human factor in that office is running the show. If you pay peanuts, you get monkeys. And monkeys have the inborn ability to screw up your business. So, number one, you don't pay peanuts. Number two, you take care of your stuff, you mingle with them, you talk to them, and you stay on the ground.
Mhm.
CEOs love to fly. This pandemic brought giants to their knees. Sustainability became a problem for giants like Siemens, Microsoft, Johnson and Johnson, Pfizer, Emirates, Etihad. Corporations we thought could never come to an end. They came down on their knees within 3 months. That means they could not sustain themselves without a running income for 3 months, even though they've been operating in this world making billions in profits over 30 years. What happened to your sustainability? They just crumbled. These situations happen when you are not in empathy and you're not in sync with someone who is below you.
Hmm.
You see, I never look at the neighbor's Ferrari. I prefer to look at the bicycle or the motorcycle the Talabat guy is driving. And then I look at myself. That makes a lot of difference.
Yes, it does. And we were speaking of blessings, and you give what you give, you also get. And
That is true.
your
You see, happiness only comes to him who gives happiness unto others. That's always been my motto.
through that. And I do
So I
remember.
prefer to give happiness to as many as I can during the day. And Fridays, of course, I do what I do.
So for me, having that first conversation with you itself was a strong, powerful connect. Was this like 5 or 6 years ago? I don't even
Yeah, five
remember
years
now.
ago, I believe.
5 years ago, yes.
Yeah.
I got your number from
Yeah, I
Partridge
think that
Papers.
was 2018, if I'm not mistaken, 4 years ago.
Yes.
Yeah,
And the idea was to speak to somebody who has published their book with the publisher, and to just understand how your experience was. But I
that is
think
correct.
more than the book and the experience, the connect with you then grew stronger, and I'm so grateful for that conversation. So now,
That is right.
looking at your book and your journey as an author and the blessings that came, and why I'm talking about blessings, obviously, tell us a little about how that was, in terms of the journey into writing the book and what exactly had
Uh,
happened.
that actually is a very interesting story, RK. I had finished writing my book sometime in 2009. Now, 50% of the book was in my head, and the other 50% was on pieces of paper, in a diary, in a small little notebook. I had not collated it yet. So once I collated everything by 2010-ish, I decided to look for a publisher. But before that, I was interviewed by a freelancer called Mrs. Ahmed from from Gulf News, and she printed my interview in the Friday magazine. That Friday magazine, one fine day after a couple of weeks, went and fell into a lap of a person called Sarah Isaac. Sarah Isaac was a producer with Channel 33 Dubai TV. So sorry, after having read that interview in the Friday magazine, she phoned me up and she said that Dubai TV is going to have a new program coming up called Real Talk. So I've read your interview. Would you like to talk about this incident to the audience? And would you like to be our guest? I said, the pleasure would be entirely mine. So one fine evening, the recording was planned out. I go to the studio, the interview recorded, all done. 2 months later, they were going to broadcast this. 1 week before the broadcast, Sarah Isaac calls me and says, Mr. Pervaiz, we have a problem. I said, tell me. So she says that Dubai government finds your story extremely graphic for home audiences. I said, hold on a second. You came to me, I did not come to you. You said real talk, I gave you real talk. I will not give you censorship rights. I knew where she was going. And she said, okay, yes, Dubai government is asking for censorship rights to the interview. I said, no deal. I said, scrap my segment from your program. I do not wish to be a TV star. I'm fine the way I am. Sorry. And that is when I decided now is the time to publish the book. So here I go into the market, the UAE market. Some publishers came, very arrogant. I somehow didn't like their approach. Some wanted censorship rights again to my script. I said, no way. Some were frightfully expensive. Then a friend of mine from London, she's also a motivational speaker and she's written many books. And she connected me with this very famous UK publisher. Uh, what's their name? Jesus Christ, I can't get their name. The UK publisher, Mummy, do you remember the name? Oh God, for the life of me, I can't remember. But they're
Okay,
very,
okay.
Sorry,
Penguin published.
no, not penguins are Americans. UK is oh, for the life of me, I can't get them. Anyway,
It's okay.
so they're very, very famous, and they also print educational books. And sorry, McGraw Hills.
Hmm.
Okay. So now this very pompous Brit, one fine morning, calls on my desk. "Hello, Mr. Pervaiz." Yes, what can I do for you? They said he was calling from McGraw Hills and that I have been very highly recommended by so and so, so and so. And they said that, yes, they would print my story. I said, all right, very nice of you. So then, in a second, he says, okay, but Mr. Pervaiz, before we go forward, I would like to tell you that we reserve a few rights. I said, as a publisher, I said, all right, please carry on. What rights do you reserve? So he said, okay, sir, we reserve the right to censor your script. I said, okay. We reserve the right to change your cover design. I said, okay. We reserve the right to modify your script the way we want to. And we reserve the right not to print something we don't feel is appropriate. I said, okay, buddy, you've given me your rights. Now, if you don't mind, I think I also, as an author, have one right. Well, what right would that be? He says. So I said, my friend,
I
I
declined.
have a right to tell you to go to bloody hell. But it was a blessing in disguise that somewhere down the line he did have a little bit of sense of humor, and he laughed it off. But I said, thanks very much indeed, my friend. This is a true story. Either you print it my way, or you don't print it at all.
True.
Then somewhere in 2016, from 2010 to 2016, I was searching for the right publisher. My daughter Nasha came up with a name. Sorry. She had researched them on the net, and the name was Partridge Publications. Partridge is a penguin group based out of New York. Their Far Eastern head office is in Singapore. Branch office is in the Philippines. So my Nasha said, Dad, send them an email. Let's see what happens. I typed out an email. I said, look, I'm a first-time author. This is what I've written. Would you care? Take a look at me. 15 minutes after my email went there, another email came in. Sir, we'd be honored to. It's wonderful. I picked up the phone. I gave them a call. A very, very professional voice came out from the other side. Her name was Jade Bailey. Jade Bailey was my publishing consultant. Not only did they print my book exactly the way I wanted to, word to word, they did not change a comma or a full stop. But Jade went out of her way to help me out since I was first-time author. She would call me on her own without anything and advise me on what to do, what to write, what not to write, where to put this, where to put that, which chapter to put where. And finally, in about 6 months' time, my book was printed.
Beautiful.
And today, Jade and her husband Cyrus are like family to me. I go to the Philippines every year for my charities, and because the revenue from this book all goes to charity,
Yes.
even from whatever Amazon sells or whatever it is, and what I sell locally in the market, all goes to charity. I support a orphanage and an old people's home in the Philippines. So I always make sure that I go to Cebu to meet Jade and Cyrus first before I proceed the rest of the Philippines.
Beautiful.
So that is basically, in a nutshell, the story of my publication.
Thank you for
Actually,
sharing.
thanks to Sarah Isaac for not airing my show. Otherwise, I may not have written this, and I may not have published my story.
Blessings in disguise. I mean, in that moment, it may have
Yes, it
looked
all
like,
comes
oh,
in disguise. Yes.
and you think, okay, what's going on? But here we are. So
Absolutely.
what's the story behind Velvet Wolf? Because I'm sure people
Velvet.
looking at your name down there are very curious.
Oh boy.
What is
Uh,
Velvet Wolf?
Velvet Wolf. This is when I was a little boy, RK. I grew up in Mardan. Mardan used to be a very small, remote village in the northwest of Pakistan when I was 3 years old. From our front yard, the Himalayas was my view. And for some silly reason in that village, I was the only 3-year-old kid. Either they were too big or they were too young. My mom had no idea what to do with me. Who should I play with? She would just leave me in the outside garden and watch over me from the kitchen window. And my best friends became caterpillars, butterflies, foxes, anteaters, scorpions, and snakes. But every summer night, a pack of 6 wild wolves would come and sit in our lawn, and I was their favorite playmate. I was 3 years old. I would sit right in the middle of a wild wolf pack and enjoy my evening to the core. And not even once, even playfully, have I ever been harmed. Not one scratch. Even though I remember pulling their tail, pulling their ears, sitting on them, riding on them, sleeping over them, but I have never seen their claws and I have never seen their jaws. I don't know what they look like. And velvet is because when you feel a wolf's body, you will feel as if you're feeling the fabric velvet. And I write it wolf with a V just to match it with velvet.
Hmm.
So the best years of my life were spent in Mardan. But today, Mardan is a bustling metropolitan. I would not even recognize my home if ever I'd gone there. Sorry.
Okay. So we've spoken about the empathy part of things,
That's
and
right.
also about the publication journey and the Velvet Wolf. What else comes to your mind when we speak about empathy? Because sometimes people mistaken sympathy for empathy. Tell me the difference between the two as you see it.
You see, sympathy is when you feel sorry for somebody. Okay, XYZ happened to you. My apologies, I feel sorry for you, blah, blah, blah. Empathy is when you put yourself in that person's shoes and then look at the situation.
So
That
true.
is empathy. Only then can you understand what that person must be feeling. Otherwise, to sympathize with you, the world is available. हाँ जी हम आपके लिए दुआ करेंगे, I will pray for you, blah, 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 blah. But I have always strongly believed that the hands that help are holier than the lips that pray.
Hmm.
So I'd rather empathize than just sympathize and walk away.
Hmm.
How many
What?
people are online? Who's watching us? I mean, how come I can't see anything?
Well, we don't have very many people watching us. Maybe they will catch it on the replay. And if there is anybody new who will catch the conversation over replay,
That's right.
please subscribe to the channel. And because, as I said, this is where I do my daily conversations as well as
Absolutely.
these weekly interviews. So if you're new to the channel, do subscribe and engage with us. So,
That is
what made you feel so strongly about empathy? Was there something that you'd like to share? Okay, before we even go there,
yes.
the book is about the accident, the accident that
Yes, the
happened to
incident
you,
that happened to me, yes. Changed
right?
my life completely, turned me around.
Um, in a brief, would you like to share what it was?
Yes, RK, the incident actually, sorry, slowed me down in life. I used to live in the fast lanes once upon a time.
Okay.
But it gave me such a heavy knock on my door and said, "Okay, listen, times are not going to change for you. You will have to change with the times."
Hmm.
There used to be times when I would find myself praying and telling my God, "Give me a 48-hour day and a 24-hour night because I can't complete everything I want to do." So this was basically a very loud and a very clear message saying nothing like that's going to happen, Sonny. You
Hmm.
need to slow down. I'm not going to increase my speed for you. You know,
And was empathy always a part of your conversation, or did it go up a level when the accident happened?
it went up a level.
Okay. And
It went up a level, especially after the small little incident that happened. I was on the pavement fighting for my life, unable to talk. My loudest scream was a whisper. When this man who I thought is going to help me just walked away with my mobile phones, that's when I realized that my life is worth less than a Nokia communicator. So that made me realize where I actually stand in life.
hmm,
And I decided to, even though I had a good laugh over the incident, but I decided to forgive him at the same time. Wherever he is now, I pray he should be happy.
hmm. So how do you how do you like to see the world evolving in the empathy space?
Sorry, I'm not with you. What does that actually mean?
So when you're
The
looking
world would turn into a very, very, very far more better place if empathy would seriously come into play, especially in the corporate world.
okay,
In the
and
otherwise world, yes, there are people who have the sense of empathy in them, but in the corporate world, it's a rarity in the corporate world.
hmm,
And a one very, very big example that I would like to give you is that of my own employers. My own employers. During this pandemic, not a single one of us was laid off, and not a penny in anyone's salary was ever cut. That
sorry
is
to hear that.
empathy. We were taken care of by our employers. And every alternate day, HR would send us a mail asking about our welfare and what we're
Yes.
doing about it and whether we have been vaccinated or what happened, how is our family doing, what's going on where. That was a great gesture.
And I think when somebody
Sorry,
is Yep. And I think when somebody shows empathy like that, you have that realization that you're not alone.
absolutely,
You don't
absolutely
have to fight life's battles by yourself. You have
true.
someone with
There's
you.
somebody always around you to watch your back.
Okay. True.
The greatest example of corporate empathy that I would like to give you is that of the Tata group of companies in India. The Taj Hotel was under siege a couple of years ago, terrorist attack. So many innocent lives were lost. Hotel staff lost their lives, unfortunately, for nothing. Mr. Ratan Tata, the owner of the hotel, has made sure that those who died, their salaries would never be stopped. Their salary still goes to their home, even though they are no longer there. And when the hotel was shut down, the people who used to work there, every month the salary would go into the account. Even though no work was happening, people were at home. The hotel was shut down for repairs for almost 6 months more, but
Wow.
no salary was ever stopped. That's JRD.
Beautiful.
And incidents like these at times just make me proud that I am a Zoroastrian.
Beautiful. Absolutely. I mean, I'm just surprised. I wouldn't say surprised because their Tata group is definitely known for, going out of the way and doing things very from the heart.
Yeah,
It's about leading the business with your heart instead of your head.
that's
So
right. Yeah.
yes, absolutely powerful. Brilliant. So, what are some things that a person can do to keep empathy going in their life, whether it's a corporate space or at home? And then, if we have any questions, we'll look at those, or else we'll.
Keep your eyes open. Look around you, what's going on. But when you look around you, make sure you look at somebody below you, not
Hmm,
above you. You see, when you look at the neighbor's Ferrari, you bloody well don't see anything else. You only see that Ferrari. But when you see the Zomato guy's motorbike, you also see a lot of other things that are already yours and way above that bike. That's when empathy will automatically come into play.
true, true, true.
And when
So,
these then these videos got viral, my Friday videos. Now what is happening is all of a sudden I'm receiving calls from private people, from God knows where they get my numbers from, and they ask for help. So I do whatever I can on my own, and what I can't, then I make small little broadcasts and send them out in my WhatsApp groups. And at the end of the day, I do find people who are willing to help, and life just goes on.
that's brilliant. Tell us about your Friday videos.
Friday, basically, I early morning 5 o'clock. That's when I wake up. The best part of my day is sunrise. I'm a morning person, and I prefer to get this breakfast made for about 30 to 40, 45 people. And I go to this special place in Rashidia where I have this breakfast made for them, and then I take it to either a labor camp or to Satwa or to places where I know pockets of poor people live in disguise who don't have jobs, lost their jobs in this pandemic,
Hmm,
and I try my best to give them that one meal a day, one smile on their face, and whatever little I can in my own way. And that's my every Friday routine.
awesome, beautiful. So we have a question from Vidya who's watching. Thank you, Vidya, for watching. She says, "How do we respond to people who turn ungrateful when we show empathy?"
Vidya, that's a very, very nice question. You don't don't show them empathy because of them. Show them empathy because of your own self. It is, you see, when you show empathy, you uplift yourself. If the other person, if the adversary doesn't care, don't mind at all. Let him go. Forgive him. You will automatically uplift yourself with you've done your part of the deal. Whether he reciprocates or he does not with you, it really doesn't matter. If you get yourself entangled in, oh, why is he not reciprocating my kindness? He's not reciprocating my empathy. You will get lost in that dark world. Just do what you do best, be happy about it, and let it go.
Hmm. But sometimes it hurts, right?
It does. You see, whenever you live for others, your life does become hard. There is no doubt about it. But when the day comes to an end, yours is a better life than his. Happiness is in your life. It becomes richer and it becomes happy. And for that, you need eyes in your heart to see that. The physical eyes will not necessarily see or feel that happiness.
Hmm.
You need to remove expectations from your mind before you empathize or before you sympathize. But if you do have expectations that, look, I'm going to do this for him, and I sincerely hope he does this for me, and he says thank you to me, and blah blah blah, then you're in for a very rude shock. Some of them will, most of them won't. Your life will become difficult, but richer when you finally come to an end.
What do you mean richer?
Rich in the sense not physically rich, rich not monetarily rich, but spiritually you will feel enlightened.
Uh,
You will actually feel that the happiness that the Lord has chosen you to bring happiness unto Him.
I
You
knew where
see,
you were going with this.
when you empathize, you are primarily just a courier. You are talabat. You take from here and you give there. The Lord says, look, physically I cannot come down and do anything. So Rukia, do me a favor. This person is in trouble. Help her. I will provide the means. All you need to do is pick it up from here and give it there. So if I have that mindset that it is not me, it is the Lord working in His own mysterious ways, you will not feel sad at the end of the day. You will feel happy automatically that I have
We
been chosen by my Lord to
true that.
perform this task.
True that. And we have obviously a very wise comment coming in, and let me let you see and
Oh my
recognize the
goodness,
name.
who's this?
I wonder who
Ardavan
that is.
Tarapurewala, my God.
Thank you. He says, God is always God is always part of your transaction. If they don't pay you back, God will. I love that. So powerfully said. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you, son.
Thank you. So, I know I was just playing the devil's advocate. I like doing that on this show because I like looking at different perspectives, and I'm just looking at how another person might think. I knew what you meant when you said your life will be richer. I
Yeah,
just wanted to have that other. I wanted you to say further.
that's right.
Also, so I've realized that sometimes though those closest to us
Yes.
are the ones from whom we are disappointed, or those
Because
from
they
whom we hold
because
expectations.
they always take us for granted. That's why it's a very, very simple answer to that. The closer
Hmm.
you are to somebody, that person will take you for granted.
Hmm.
But when you
And
do something for a stranger, the stranger will think for a while.
true. She adds to say, but then
Vidya
we,
saying that when we would stop empathizing with them eventually, won't we? My question is, would you? I want.
so when you,
You see, here is where your test lies. The Lord wants to test you how far you can really go without feeling insulted, without feeling hurt. Because you see, you don't have to look at it this way that I am doing this for this person. You have to look at it this way that my Lord has commanded me to do this, and I'm simply obeying his command. End of story. I have done my part. Now, if the other side is not doing theirs, that should not be your headache.
Vidya, give us a yes if that resonates with you, or if you would like to add something more to this. I'm just letting that sink in. And guys, yeah,
I have done
yes.
it some point, and hence my question. Yes, in fact, I have done it at some point. Hence my question. Well, keep on doing it, Vidya. God bless you.
You see, sometimes you keep doing stuff for people, and then you are left out in your own life.
That is true. That is true.
And then that
That
leads
is
to,
where, basically, that is where the test lies. The Lord
and
wants to
then
know how much elasticity do you have. Are you going to give up now, or are you going to still continue? That's my personal take on this.
Yeah, 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 of course. Uh, and
In these pandemic days, Rukia, there came a day when a Filipino lady called me just out of the blues. I don't know where she got my number from, and she said that Kuya means brother. I have heard that you help people in need. I said, tell me, Ate, what can I do for you? Ate means sister. So she said to me that Kuya, I don't have a job since the last 2 months. My husband has left me and gone away to the Philippines. I have not eaten in 3 days because I have a 6-month-old baby and I need to care for him. An arrow went in through my heart and came out of my backbone. Hunger is the greatest pandemic ever known to mankind since time began. Not this ridiculous man made virus that we're worried about. More people die of road accidents every day than of COVID 19. COVID 19 was just hyped up by the social media and nothing else. So I called up a few of my friends and they immediately went and sorted out her immediate problems and then we again collected something to send her back to the Philippines safe and sound with her kiddo. But you see now the thing is she does have my number, but she never came back. At that point in time, yes, she thanked me profusely. She thanked the people I sent to her to help her out. A very dear friend of mine, Zareen, she went out of her way to help the little girl. And but the thing is, even though she's in the Philippines, she has my WhatsApp number. She has everything. She never came back. But you see, now the thing is that doesn't make me sad at all. I would say wherever you are, be happy. I did what I was told to do, and I'm satisfied that I did my job. Whether you do yours or not, it's not my problem at all.
and again, I'm just going to continue to probe you a little bit here because
Please,
it's like that was a complete stranger.
that she was a complete stranger.
Yeah. See, you let go. But again, when it's your own people, how do
When
you
it's you see
then
when
keep
it's your own
going?
people, there's nothing you can do because that person has taken you for granted. No, no problem. When I'm hungry, my uncle's going to look after me. Who gives a shit? Well, you see, he's my uncle. He's supposed to help me out. Oh, he's my dad. He's got to pay for my bills. What the hell?
Hmm. So do you set boundaries
To what?
so that you can take care of yourself sometimes? Because a lot of times people think self-care is selfish. What are your thoughts on that?
No, no. You see, if you don't take care of yourself, you'll never be able to take care of somebody else. So when you are in the mechanism and the machinery of looking after other people, you need to take care of yourself as well. So there have been times where I do draw the line. And you see, caring for the caretaker is extremely necessary. I support an orphanage, but that does not mean my charity always goes to the orphanage. There have been times when I segregate the caretaker of that orphanage. The staff who runs that show for me, I cater to their families, to them, and not to the orphans. Taking care of the caretaker is very, very important.
I like that. I like that. Taking care of the caretaker.
Taking care of the caretaker. Because if the caretaker is not taken care of, he's not going to be able to take care of you. You see, they have left their own parents at home and they are in this old people's home looking after your parents. Their children are at home You don't know whether they've studied, whether they've eaten, and you're looking after children of total strangers. In the orphanage in the Philippines, I have this 92-year-old lady, and she was a professor of English in Manila. She's got two sons. Both of them are settled in the United States. And maybe if they do remember at times, once in 5 years, they call her just to wish her a happy birthday. And that is about all. And she lives in an orphanage. The sons are millionaires. So I told that teacher that, ma'am, don't consider yourself unlucky. I pity your sons. They are the unlucky ones that they do not have the opportunity of looking after you, even though they have the means to do so. But God did not give them the opportunity because God said, you guys are not worthy of this mom.
We we are heading into the last 10 minutes of this conversation. So before
So
we
tell me, what
close,
else can I tell you?
yes, before we close, tell me, how can one show empathy to oneself?
That's a tricky one.
Did you think you would get off so easy?
Now, after a long time, a human being has been able to spellbind the wolf. Empathy towards my own self. I don't know, to be very honest with you. I've never done it. You see, if I fall into some kind of a trouble or whatever it is, I would look for a power above me and ask divine help, ask family for help. That's about all. Because how to do this myself, I really don't know.
Okay. I'll tell you where this question is coming from. Of course, the topic for today is empathy. But yesterday, I did this amazing, if I may call it myself, amazing.
Please.
I did this amazing session at the Global Gross Happiness Summit. No, we have Global Gross Happiness Soul Sessions that happen.
Right,
So this is run by the University for Peace, which is the education wing of the United Nations.
right.
So I was on call yesterday around this time presenting to them, and I was presenting about the power of trust.
The power of
Trust.
trust. Okay.
Yeah. And by now, a lot of people know that I like creating acronyms out of words. So trust again is
Right.
an acronym.
Yeah.
And as I
You're
close
a
the
you're a
conversation,
word wizard also.
thank you. So as I closed the conversation, what I did was I invited people to ask themselves. Um, Initially, I asked them, "Who's the person you go to for trust?" Because we all have those moments where we're not trusting ourselves, we're feeling depleted. So we always reach out to someone else to give us trust in ourselves,
Right.
right? Then I said, we went through the acronym and I said, are you willing to be your person for yourself? And there was silence. It was like it hit them. It
Mm.
was beautiful as a moment. I thought it was just an ordinary concept that I'm bringing to the table. I really didn't
No,
think it
you,
would be so
you you brought
impactful.
about you brought about a very, very stunning and very beautiful concept. Actually, there have been times when I talk to myself, and my beloved always finds this very irritating. But I always keep telling her when I need expert advice, I talk to myself.
That's your higher self.
Yeah.
And we tend to do this when we are praying, because we are seeking for guidance. And where does the guidance come from? It comes obviously, yes, from God
Yes.
Himself, but it
Yes.
also an inner higher self that
Guidance
can
sometimes
listen.
does come from within as well. You see,
Yeah,
from within your
you're
own self.
yeah. It's just that you have to be a little still for that. You have to wait
Yes.
and listen. You have
Yes.
to listen.
Yes. Even the Lord said, "Be still, and I will be there." If you want to see your reflection, RK, you will not be able to see it in a raging sea. You need a very still pond. Only then will you see thyself.
True
When the
that.
waters are still, in a storm, you don't see yourself at all.
So true.
And
And if
many, many moons ago, this devil decided to come into my life, whispered in my ears, Wolf, you will not be able to withstand the storm. I looked into my Lord's eyes and whispered back to the devil, I am the
the
storm.
storm,
And the devil had to resign. So be
absolutely.
the storm.
Be the storm,
Be the storm.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And show empathy to yourself by being kind to yourself. I think a lot
Yes.
of times we are so quick to be empathetic towards the others.
Yes.
But what about that time when the wolf is late to work? Do you beat yourself down or do you say, okay, take it easy? I'm supposed to get there when I'm supposed to get there?
Yeah, I do. I sometimes I do go overboard, but sometimes I do realize that even the wolf needs a break. Like for example, the last 2 Fridays I gave them to myself. I decided not to do anything for anybody, no strangers, no friends, no family, just myself. And I went fishing with my Syrian friend in Sharjah, and I
Yes,
enjoyed my day to the core.
that's empathy as well.
That's
You're giving
that's when I
yourself love.
decided to unwind and get back into the groove for the next week.
Beautiful. So, looking at it from that perspective, what are some things, some simple things that a person could possibly do to show empathy to themselves?
To themselves, treat yourself, treat
Yes,
yourself to pink berry,
yes, of course.
treat yourself to pink berry. That's empathy for yourself. Take yourself
Absolutely.
fishing, go and have a steak.
Do the things that make you come
When you need
alive.
to show empathy to your own self, you need to do what you enjoy the most without resistance
And guilt, without
and
resistance and guilt.
and and guilt and guilt.
Super. So, thank you for your time.
The
Any,
pleasure was entirely mine. In fact, I should be thanking you for bearing with me for almost over an hour and 15 minutes. Wow.
it's been an hour, and it's been a fascinating hour learning about you, seeing empathy through
Thank
your
you.
eyes and your
Thank you very
kind
much indeed.
conversation. Thank
Thanks
you.
very much. I'll be impatiently waiting for the video to come in.
Me too. I will. I think we should have it online by tomorrow morning at the most. It takes a little bit of processing to do,
Brilliant.
and those who have the link already with them can obviously jump on board and listen to the broadcast. So thank you
Brilliant.
once again for sharing. Again, if you are new to the platform, do subscribe, and because these are the kind of amazing conversations we have, not just on the weekly basis but also daily. I've been contributing, and today is day 1276 of my daily commitment. Isn't that
Wonderful.
interesting? Thank you so much, and have a
Thanks
good
very much
rest of the
indeed,
day.
RK. God bless. Good night.
Thank you.
And
There's a little comment that's
beautiful.
coming from
There's somebody
Vidya.
else coming. Thank you for a beautiful insight session. Lots of learning. Thank you very much, Mrs. Iyer. It was a pleasure to be with you too. And God bless you always with abundant health and happiness.
Thank
Bye
you. Thank
bye.
you. Bye bye. Thank you
Shall
very
we say
much.
hello, hello? So bye bye, bye bye. Twice.
Oh, yes. Bye bye bye
Bye bye bye.
bye. Bye. Thank
All
you.
right, buddy. You look after yourself.
You
And
too. Good
take
night.
care always. My regards
Bye
to
bye.
Khan Sab and the kids.
Shall do. Thank you so much.
Bye bye.
Bye. Bye.